Hey guys, we are at the second to last episode of All Out. But before the series can be completely finished, I have to say this week's episode was an intense, thrilling, blood flowing, blood pumping episode. This match between the two schools was everything I can ask for and more. But there was a message by the end of this episode that tells us next week we should be prepared for it, and it doesn't look good. Now, before I can get to that part of the episode, by the very end of it, let's start with what happened within the first 5 to nearly 6 minutes of episode 24 of All Out. Now, we know something's going on with Matsuo, but they didn't explain it until now. So they showed us a flashback to where the third years were having their meeting. Now, I did say in last week's episode review that initially I thought they were having a meeting on what strategies and tactics they were going to use against Ryoin in their practice match. But it was actually them gathering together third years to talk about Matsuo and ask him the reason why he's acting the way he is. Now, they are plenty angry, and that's understandable because every time, they're playing against other schools, they're having their practices, he is slacking off. He's not doing what he's supposed to do. He's not giving it his all, and he's always being substituted by Oharino. So they asked him, and they're telling him all of this, and he's basically like, yeah, I am slacking off. And even if I do tell you guys that, you wouldn't be able to understand. And the more he was talking, I came to the conclusion that he's stuck in the middle. And when I say that is based upon what he said, right now, where we are currently, we won't be able to beat Ryoin, a school that has been winning for 15 years. This is something that's been said over and over again, and I've been telling you guys over and over again. And he said even though that they have Coach Kimori, they have gotten stronger where they are currently right now, at this point, this time period, they won't be able to make it. But they have second years who have the potential and experienced first years that by the following year they'll be able to do the things that they're not capable of doing right now. And he's while he's doubting them right now, he is having hopes for the future with the younger teammates. So that's his reason for slacking off. And if you remember, when they announced that they were playing against Ryoin, his whole demeanor took a 180. I mean, Ebony noticed it, and everyone else noticed it. And of course, we, the audience, have noticed it as well. And it's like, once he heard they were playing against Ryoin, it's like his whole world came crashing down. And seeing his attitude is completely different in regards to when we were first introduced to him during the Keijo match between these two schools, and how he said he wanted to win with Sekizan, and now he's basically saying, I don't want to win with you guys, so what's even the point of even trying? We also come to find out that he and Sekizan, who are very close, they were actually, once they graduate, because they are third years, once they graduate, they were going to go to college together and continue pursuing in the profession of rugby, in hopes possibly go further than that and become professionals. But we see where he said that I won't be able to go to college, so forget about that dream of us going to college together. Now, they don't explain his reasons why he can't go to college, but there possibly are situations where he possibly may not financially have it within him to be able to pursue further education, or he has to go straight to work right after high school once he graduates. So whatever the case may be, they never explain, but you can probably come up with your own thoughts or opinions based on what he said. So, I feel bad for Matsuo, but at the same time, even though you're not going to continue playing rugby and you're going to quit after high school, yes, you have an opponent that seems so out of your reach, but that mentality he has right now is the same as his older teammates when he was playing with, you know, the previous Jinko players, and that's a loser mentality. He's already giving up before he's even trying, and all this time he's been trying, but now he's coming against the opponent that they will eventually face off against sometime in the future, whether it's right now or later on in the series. They will face off against Ryoin, so it's quite a shocker to see him just giving it all up and just you know, throwing in the towel. And that's really, you know, like a 180, a complete difference to what we saw when we were first introduced to his character. Now the matches continue on with these two teams, and when we thought Jinko was the one pushing back, it's actually them doing it to Ryoin. And actually, I believe they got 3 tries against Ryoin. And yes, this is the second string, and most people don't take them seriously, but this is from the #1 school in Kanagawa and in the high school division of rugby. And you would have thought, okay, the entire team is strong, because that's how they're able to get in the team, and eventually the second string will become first string players. A few of them may become that. So this is not a school you can just look down upon just because the second rank is playing against you. So they're the ones being pushed back. Jinko is really giving it to them. They're not joking around, and we saw in the game where, you know, Sekizan constantly is looking back at Matsuo on the sidelines, and in hopes that Matsuo will change his mind. He might see a facial change, seeing changes in his face, seeing that, oh my god, these guys are really, you know, trying their best against Ryoin. Even if the odds are against them, they're really trying their best. We even have where Raita practically begs Sekizan to open Matsuo's eyes, because we got a little flashback when they were their first years, and like I said, he has that loser mentality, and just like his older teammates know that Raita came from a middle school and that he used to play rugby in his middle school and continue on that path in high school. Basically just pushed him aside, saying, we don't deal with that here, you're insolent. So take whatever you learned in middle school and keep it there. We're not all about that. And, you know, just let Matsuo keep playing the way he is, because before Matsuo sucked. So we can assume he started playing rugby when he entered high school. And they even talk trash about their own teammates. They said, you know, Sekizan is big, but he completely sucks, and that's it. So why not substitute Raita for him? And that mentality that they had was so horrible. Like, they always threw in the towel before they actually could achieve something. And that's why the school constantly always lost, because these guys never cared. And they were just there to just basically fill up the space for the sake of playing rugby. And when you see characters like Sekizan just always giving his all, even though he wasn't the best player there was, I'm glad that he was on that team, that he was able to influence characters like Matsuo, Hachioji, and Raita, and all the others to want to give their best. So he tells him that, and that he's asking, you know, Sekizan to, you know, make Matsuo realize that they really are giving it all they have against this team. And then we also have where Hachioji basically yelled at Sekizan to stop looking on the sidelines. Yes, they're worried. Yes, they want Matsuo to see what they're capable of, but at the same time, he must focus on what is at hand, what is present, what's in front of him, and is this match. And they come up with a plan that was like beautifully executed. They actually faked a mall. Now I have to look up that. I didn't get to look it up because, you know, I was rewatching the entire episode over and over again, and that's why the review is kind of late today. And I was just like, you know, I was just fangirling throughout the entire episode because that's how good it was. And they did an overhaul, which was actually to deceive their opponent. And when we thought Sekizan was the one that was going to take the ball and go run to get a try, he actually passes it to Hachioji, and Hachioji was the one to score the final try for this episode. And it looks like Jinko is in the lead. Of course, this does not sit well with Ryoin's captain, and it doesn't look good on Ryoin. Why is the #1 school facing such difficulties against a no-name school? Why is that the cause? So by close to the end of this episode, around like, you know, the last minute before the ending song plays, we have where Zamba, who was supposedly sleeping, wakes up. And he glances over the field to see everything that's going on. And then he's like, while he's looking and he's observing, he tilts his head, he smirks, and then he's like, Now, while everything was happening, we were really excited about this game, you know, our blood pumping, we were getting excited, we're getting thrilled with everything that's going on. We're like, go Jinko, do your best, beat this team, show them that you guys are no pushovers and you're not who you used to be. You guys are getting so much better, and we're really happy. But I always have to bring back, you know, that bad prediction that Jinko is going to lose. Now, is how it happens and what takes place that either leaves you, you know, feeling good or feeling bittersweet. And when we saw Zamba do that little tilt with his head and smirk and going, that left me with a bad taste in my mouth, because, you know, I do like Zamba. I really like his character, but I'm fearful for the last episode and how it's going to go down. And the reason for that is because I feel like, because things are not looking good for Ryoin right now, they're going to place Zamba. I have a big feeling if they don't place in Zamba, they're going to place in possibly either Tsukinaka or one of the Karashima brothers in there, and it's going to change the tide of the game, and we'll really see the reason why Ryoin is #1, why no one was able to beat them for 15 long years. And next week's episode, I don't know how it's going to end and what's going to happen as the episode goes on, but man, I'm actually kind of scared for next week's episode. I actually am, because I don't know what's going to go on. Usually when you see a next episode happens, you could kind of guess it's going to be a good episode or something. You have that prediction about it, but at least for the last episode of any series, but for the last episode, you have such a bad feeling, and that, like I said, it's going to leave off on a cliffhanger, because if the manga is continuing on and the anime ends at some point, it's so that it doesn't catch up with the manga. So of course the anime is going to be left on a cliffhanger. So all we can hope for is that they announce, possibly within the anime, announcements for season 2, and it's greenlit or is in the works or something, or you could possibly hear later in the year that it's been greenlit for next year or the following year or something of that sort. But of course, definitely I'm watching the last episode, and as I said before, I believe in my live stream for episode 19 that for the last episode I was going to do another live stream, and of course I will notify you guys of when I'm going to start it, and it's going to be Google Hangouts. So when the live stream is happening, there is a comment section for you guys to leave comments so that I can see it live, and then I can respond back to you guys. So I will tell you guys within the week, tell you through Twitter and Tumblr, so stay up to date with that on when I'm going to get started, and then we can watch the episode together, whether it's your first time watching the last episode or it's your second time, third time, fourth time, whatever the case may be. So that was really it for this week's episode. This is a pretty lengthy review, but this was a really good episode, and I will see you guys for the last episode of All Out next week, Thursday. Stay tuned for that. And you can leave a comment in the comment section below on how you guys felt about this week's episode. Tell me your favorite moments of this entire series of season 1. What were some things you liked, some things you didn't like, some things that they could have changed. If you are a manga reader, you could leave some of those comments down below. You could check out the links in the description box. And I'm Kimmy Chan of Anime Legends Podcast, and I will see you guys later. Bye!